Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our reading through the Tanak night, the 7th of May, 2025. Uh, we'll be reading out of the books of Genesis. We'll be reading chapters 41 through 45. We'll read each chapter and then we'll break it down, okay? You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at. Check the videos out, get the meat out. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. For those that don't know, this is the non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer and our Savior, the Lord of Hosts. Okay. Don't subscribe to the New Testament. Okay. Jesus. We don't subscribe to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the founding fathers. None of that. Okay. That's paganism. Okay. This channel was designed and created to aid and assist Hebrew Israelites who are waking up in these last days to their true identity. Okay. Beacon in the dark. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh night. Okay. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms, current events, need to know information. We're opening up for some Q&A. Then we'll go into our topic, which is we'll be reading out of the book of Genesis, chapters 41 through 45. We'll pick up scriptures, break it down, and then we'll close out. I want to apologize for last night because we had some severe weather down here, so computer wasn't working right, so there was no need to come on. So, but it's gone right now, so thank God. We'll go ahead and do what we gotta do tonight. Okay. This moment of silence for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in his last day. Oh, we come before thee at this day, praising thee, worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. Oh Lord, the end times that you have foretold unto our forefathers are upon us. Oh Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that thou hast foretold. Give us, O Lord, the knowledge to rightly divide thy word that is delivered in righteousness and in truth. There is great confusion among your inheritance, O Lord, now that you are awakening them. And we know that your hand is sure and that your hand is firm. Oh Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days, and we will tarry and depend upon you, because there is none else besides you, oh Lord. You are our Savior and our Redeemer. Okay. Peace be unto you. Okay, so with that being said, I'll read a song. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalm 78. It's a reminder of God's goodness to Israel. It's just it's the Psalm of Asaph, David's chief musician. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, showing to the generations to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he have done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known unto their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They kept not the covenant of God and refused to walk in his law and forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the fields of Zoan. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as a heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. He clave the rocks in the wilderness and gave them drink as out of a great depth. He brought streams also out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their hearts by asking meat for their lust. Yea, they spake against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation. Though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven and had rained down manna upon them to eat and had given them of the corn of heaven, man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heavens, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sands of the sea. And he let them all fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitation. So they did eat, and were well filled, for he gave them their own desires. They were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them and slew the fattest of them and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still and believed not for his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble. When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and inquired early after God. And they remembered that God was their rock, and the high God their redeemer. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues. Okay, for their hearts were not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity and destroyed them not. Yet many at times turned his anger away and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passeth away and cometh not again. How did they provoke him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert? Yea, they turned back and tempted God and limited the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy, how he had wrought his signs in Egypt and his wonders in the fields of Zoan, and had turned their rivers into blood and their floods that they could not drink. He sent divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to the hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their souls from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and slaughtered all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacle of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock, and he led them on safety, okay, on safely, so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies, and he brought them to the borders of his sanctuary, even to this mountain, which his right hand had purchased. He cast out the heathen also, and before them, and divided them and inherited by line, and made the tribes of Israel, excuse me, tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High God, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow, for they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him with jealousy with their graven images. And when God heard this, he was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he had placed among them, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the enemy's hands. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given to marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Did the Lord awake as one out of sleep, and like a mighty man that shouted by reason of wine, and the small, and he smote his enemies in the hinder parts. He put them to the perpetual reproach. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph, and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, uh, the Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his sanctuary like high places, like the earth, which he had established forever. He chose David also, his servant, and took him from sheepfold, from following the ewes, great with young. He brought him to feed Jacob, his people, and Israel, his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them by the skillfulness of his hand. Okay, that was Psalm 78, and it's a reminder of God's goodness to Israel. It was a song of Asaph. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay.
Shalom. Yes, sir. So, verse 6, is that, let me read it. Verse 6 says that the generations to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should rise and declare them to their children. So, by reading that, and today, now today, the New Testament has corrupted that for far as passing down the memory, the tradition, because then it broke that up by having a New Testament.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Yeah.
And he also exposed who done it, because Esau was raised by Abraham too. So he the culprit. He would know that because when Jacob, what Jacob received from the Most High, from from Abraham, he was right there too. He heard it too. So he knew what to do to Israel to hinder them. Like I said, when you understand who Isaiah 53 is, it's a grievous wound in Israel right now. And that grievous wound is the lack of knowledge. Our records been tampered with and taken away. They gave us a false God in the process of doing that. So that's the grievous wound in Isaiah 53.
Yes, sir. Because also it's been mentioned that they would go to a place where they would not know the language.
Right.
Um, and so even though, everybody knows Adam's language, their language, the Moabite language, all the rest of them, but the language that we would not know as of today, coming from the transatlantic slaves, is that we didn't know the European language, you know, over here in America, as we, to spread them to the four corners of the world. His children will be
They would deal with
right,
a language they knew not.
right.
So
So that would be a language that um, you know that no one spoke, that no one even heard of. Yes, sir. So they know about all the rest of the people that they were growing up with, but this what would be that language that they don't know?
that's all the languages that's out there, like English, French, all those languages. We was in the land of Israel. We're dealing with our God. We weren't supposed to be nowhere else. So when he scattered us, we ended up in all these other places, and these people speaking a different language.
That's how they was able to teach the New Testament, because we didn't know that language, and they could have changed it and put it into this language that we speak now. Is that part of it?
Exactly. Right, right. They took away our, like I said, when you understand what happened, the first thing they did was they changed the Old Testament, Tanak. When they got Hotai records in 143 BC, when the Antiochus came, and not only that, he was burning all the books, especially the Tanakh, the Torah. He was burning all that, and so then they came and they, when they got Hotai records, they twisted them all up. The first thing they did was wrote the Septuagint. They changed our Tanakh until they wrote it in Greek. So right there, that was the beginning of our understanding, and what we just read, that they was commanded to pass the knowledge and the books down, but they wasn't able to pass them down because he cast them off, and then the Greeks translated it into English, to Greek, and then from there it went on to French, all over the place, to where it's at right now. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, yeah, like I said, in 71, uh, it says, you can see pretty much when you read this whole thing, with your Hebrew lenses on, you can, 69 says he built the sanctuary like a high place. So that's the tabernacle that Solomon built. The temple that Solomon built. It's up on a mountain. That's what a high place is. Up in the mountain, that's what these angels at. They up in the mountains. So these their children, the giants, wanted to worship them. They go up in the mountains, sacrifice to them, the kids and all that. So that's what high places is. So he says, like the earth which he have established forever, he chose David. They go to Messiah right here. He chose David. Lord of hosts chose David, also his servant, uh, and took him from the sheepfold, from following the ewes, great with young. He brought him to feed Jacob, his people. That's the Messiah right there. And Israel, his inheritance. So this God inherited Israel, so it ain't Yahweh. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hand. So we see right here when you're reading the scriptures, it tell you all through this Psalm 78, the truth of the matter with Israel. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. We go to our current events. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So I have a very serious topic I am going to be getting into. Are they trying to tell us something? It's the big question. Is something big about to jump off? That's another serious question. I want you to take a look at this on your screen. Take a look at your screen for a moment. Now, they are saying that a fatal fungus similar to the Last of Us disease could spread worldwide. Now, we'll come back to this in just a moment.
Did you know that some of the biggest market moves actually
Many of you may remember when we talked about the Deagle report, where they were saying that a good 2/3 of the world's population in 2025 wasn't going to be here anymore. So you got to ask yourself, how is that going to come about? They listed a number of different scenarios, things that could help push you towards that. Now, I am brought to the remembrance of biblical prophecy that states that 2/3 of the earth's population is going to be added undone, right? We've talked about that too. It is very, very clear in the Bible. Very, very clear in the Bible. And so that being said, we need to get ourselves prepared and ready for whatever. Now, remember this too. The Bible says that the Most High can and will thwart the plans of these wicked nations. But we don't know exactly what plans he's talking about thwarting, right? He says that he will thwart them, but notice he does allow things to happen. So we cannot afford to simply sleep and ignore what folk are doing. Bible tells us to be not ignorant of Satan's devices, lest he gets an advantage over you. That's the last thing we want. We don't want the enemy getting an advantage over us, now do we? That being said, we have got work to do, family. We've got work to do. We got some praying, some preparation, some fasting, some seeking, some repenting, all kinds of things. Because let me tell y'all something. I want y'all to hear this report on this thing that they're talking about could go worldwide, and it is fatal. What is about to jump off? I want y'all to pay close attention to this. And of course, you know, I will be right back.
Fatal fungus, similar to the Last of Us disease, could spread worldwide. Recent research has raised concerns about the spread of deadly fungal infections, with some scientists warning that climate change is creating conditions that allow fungi to thrive in new environments. While the fictional cordyceps fungus in The Last of Us is not a real threat to humans, experts say that certain fungal pathogens are evolving and spreading at an alarming rate, posing a serious risk to global health. The growing threat of fungal infections. Scientists have identified Aspergillus fumigatus, a fungus that causes aspergillosis, as a major concern. This fungus grows rapidly in warm environments, meaning rising global temperatures could increase its spread. Causes severe lung infections, particularly in people with asthma or weakened immune systems. Is resistant to treatment, making infections difficult to cure. Climate change and fungal evolution. Warmer temperatures are expanding the habitats where fungi can survive. Fungal pathogens are adapting, making them more infectious to humans. By 2100, Aspergillus fumigatus could spread 77% more than it does today. Could a Last of Us style pandemic happen? While The Last of Us depicts a mind-controlling fungus, experts say that fungal infections do not spread like viruses. However, the rise of drug-resistant fungi could lead to serious outbreaks, especially in hospitals and vulnerable populations. What can be done? More research is needed to understand how fungi evolve. Improved treatments must be developed to combat drug-resistant infections. Climate action could help slow the spread of dangerous fungi. Recent research has raised concerns about the spread of deadly fungal infections, with some scientists warning that climate change is creating conditions that allow fungi to thrive in new environments. While the fictional cordyceps fungus in The Last of Us is not a real threat to humans, experts say that certain fungal pathogens are evolving and spreading at an alarming rate, posing a serious risk to global health. Scientists have identified Aspergillus fumigatus, a fungus that causes aspergillosis, as a major concern. This fungus grows rapidly in warm environments, meaning rising global temperatures could increase its spread. It causes severe lung infections, particularly in people with asthma or weakened immune systems, and it is resistant to treatment, making infections difficult to cure. Warmer temperatures are expanding the habitats where fungi can survive, allowing fungal pathogens to adapt and become more infectious to humans. By the end of the century, Aspergillus fumigatus could spread much more than it does today. While The Last of Us depicts a mind-controlling fungus, experts say fungal infections do not spread like viruses, however, making infections difficult to cure. Hospitals are
bugging in versus bugging out. Now, there was all this talk about bugging out. Everyone don't have the ability to bug out. You know, we talked about it before. Where are you going to go if you do decide to bug out? Where are you going to go, right? And what about those who aren't that mobile to where they can just do that? So with whatever scenario that plays out, people have got to get themselves prepared to be able to shut in for a while, okay? Because there is some stuff jumping off. We're not just talking about what's going on with the economy, what's going on with politics, and all of these new laws and executive orders and all of this chaos that the Trump administration is creating in this country and around the world. But we're even talking about stuff like this that can jump off, right?
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that?
Shalom. I did not hear about it, but it just brings me to mind again about the COVID epidemic and how on TED Talk that Bill Gates was saying about the population is too much, and the way you can take that down is to bring on the COVID. And that was back in 2012 when he said it on TED Talk. So here we have another virus that's coming out that will have shut-ins, have things happening. Then they said that it cannot, no cure, but they will come up with some virus vaccine that was going to at least help prevent you not to pass, but you will probably still receive this fungus virus that's coming out. To me, again, she made a statement about how many people will be living here in the United States, the population, and it seems like another takedown on the population with this new virus that's coming out.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, yes, I saw a video on that yesterday, and I was listening to it. And again, they always warn us before something happens. So I just think that we need to get prepared for that. And they're saying that there's nothing for it, but there is. So we just need to research the herbs that we need to have on hand. So if it happens, and the thing that I'm saying, it said something about warm places, right? So a couple of days before that, I was watching a video where they were saying that the people that inspect the cruise ships and things like that they had fired or really, lowered the numbers with that. And so we know that's where a lot of these germs and viruses come from, is close contact with people, close spaces. So if the hospital is not safe, because they said that too, then we have to be prepared to take care of ourselves.
Exactly, right. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you see what the Trump administration is all about. Black folks and then they don't want to. Like I said, they got to be. They got 2 years to do this, because when the midterms come, none of them nut buckets gonna be there. If it's still a system in place, they're gonna vote them out. So this is gonna make sense right here. What they're doing, they're gonna try to eliminate the voters before we get to that. Anybody else? Yeah. So I don't know if anybody was aware of it or paid attention to it, but she kept saying The Last of Us. That was mentioned about 5 or 6 times, where they got a season sitcom that's out called The Last of Us, and it's pertaining to this everything that's going on right now. We know how they talk, they speak through these movies, through Hollywood. So if you haven't watched that, you might want to start watching it. I think they're on like season 3 or 4 or something like that. Maybe 3. Okay, it's called The Last of Us. Okay, so with that being said, go to this next video.
Did you know that you can have...
This right here is crazy. I mean, supposed to be expected. If you know anything about what's been brought forth on this channel, and
the ones doing the sieging are the far right, hoping to corrupt men are under.
So they got these in King Albert plan is supposed to be at the last minute. They're gonna deputize all these far right groups, racist groups, militia. Check it out.
Siege, and the ones doing the sieging are the far right, hoping to corrupt another generation of young men, turn them against their own interests, and leave them broken, compliant foot soldiers. And one of the tools that they've been using, and apparently are now expanding, are these basically youth clubs that are fight clubs. They're indoctrination, neo-Nazi, white supremacist workout clubs or whatever, but you can see some reporting there from The Guardian about it. And let's give you all the details. They're referred to as active clubs. They've proliferated across the US, and it's a combination of like fitness stuff or a little bit of mixed martial arts, but also ideology and indoctrination. So you go in there because you think the UFC is really cool, and then gradually it's just more and more neo-Nazi and fascist stuff, trying to turn you into, again, a compliant fascist foot soldier. And now they're trying to spread to even younger people, by the way. So earlier this month, their main Telegram account endorsed youth clubs, which are chapters beginning to spring up online across the country, showing pictures of 18-year-olds and under engaged in mixed martial arts, racist memeing, and posts referencing genocidal and bigoted literature. The most recent club post said, youth clubs are for those under 18 that still want to get active. And again, this is far right, so I'm sure some of the leaders of this would love to get active with some of the younger than 18 boys in these groups, but that's a scandal for another TDR video. For now, we're going to focus on the fight clubs. On Telegram alone, there are accounts showing nationwide chapters with photos of teens between the age of 16 and 18, basically everywhere. Florida and Georgia, down the south, up to New England, off to Washington, D.C., and Michigan, and it's all over the place. By the way, one of the founders of it, the original founders, Robert Rundo, pleaded guilty in 2024 to conspiracy to riot at 2017 political rallies in California. During that period, he was the leader of the Rise Above movement, a violent neo-Nazi gang that promoted combat sports and physical assault of perceived enemies. 4 of its members were actually charged for participating in the 2017 Unite the Right rally, in which someone they disagreed with was murdered by one of these neo-Nazis. So this is now spreading. They're targeting younger and younger people, trying to piggyback on all of the cities across America. They'll focus on the person who wrote an op-ed while getting their doctorate. And that, unfortunately, is the priority. And I will close by saying, if you are a young person, first of all, you probably clicked off of this at this point already. You want to join one of these groups because you want to find camaraderie or something, that's fine. You can do that. I want you to understand that you are kissing goodbye any chance you have at the sort of life you imagine that you someday might have, where you are happy and fulfilled. You will be purposefully and repeatedly broken down by these people because they do not want fulfilled men. They don't want men in happy, successful, consensual relationships because people like that won't be part of these groups. They want you to be broken and desperate and hateful and jealous and entitled and angry. And they will ensure that that is how you stay for as long as they can hold on to you.
Okay. Any comments on that? It's all coming together. You pay attention. Okay.
Shalom. What's the name of it again? Of that YouTube you sent?
The video?
Yes, sir.
Young people targeted as alarming far right or fight groups blow up nationwide. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Group or whatever.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's all tied to. I was telling you about the King Apple plan. Their objective is at the end to deputize all these so-called groups right here, these militia groups, and then I got a video I'm gonna play in a minute for me to know information about these people target the police department. That's why you have so many killings, black folks getting hemmed up and killed, and all kind of assaults on them because of these the policemen or these far right groups. What they started out doing was in the beginning, when they still doing now, they send their kids into the army. 2 years, get the combat training, free combat training. They get out, then they in this group right here. They get in these fascist, these far right groups, and then they send them to the police department. So now we see with Trump back on the scene, all this being hyped up again because they got an agenda. So we're gonna check out this next video, which is tied to this. Notice they was naming all the states where a lot of this at. Georgia was one of the first ones they named. So let's check it out.
Tired of
Okay.
Think about what is happening in Georgia. I think about the scripture that says, and they shall wear out the people of the Most High. Of course, the translation says saints. We've gone over that before. That's just another way of hiding who we are by saying, and they shall wear out the saints. Okay. Other translations bring it like it's supposed to be. Okay. Wearing out the children of the Most High, wearing out the house of Yasharel. They shall wear out the house of Yasharel. So anyway, Black people in Atlanta are about to face a terrible situation. A terrible situation. I'm not surprised at all, but it does get to the point where it wears you out trying to keep up with all of the madness that these people are throwing at us each and every day. This is why I often say that they are an unrepentant nation. America is unrepentant, meaning they are not sorry for the horrendous things that they have done and continue to do. They're not sorry. They continue to make excuse after excuse. I shared a video earlier. I don't know what happened with that video. I saw someone in the chat say YouTube must be up to some funny business again. From one day to the next, you don't know what these people are really doing. You have no idea because I'm gonna tell you right now, that message that Mr. Dollarmore had was very, and I don't see why it's needed. It's not needed, but they want a cop city. That's what they want, Black people, and pretend, huh? They pretend. America pretends, y'all, like they don't know what we are talking about. They act like they don't know what we're talking about when we point out their wickedness. So anyway, I'm about to share a report with you all about this thing that they are alleging for, that they're talking about. They're actually talking about doing this. Serious business. Okay? And I don't see why it's needed. It's not needed. But they want a cop city. That's what they want. Cop city in Atlanta. And you're going to hear the details about this cop city. They are wanting to militarize the police, make them more strong-armed than they have ever been. They have already been a certain way towards so-called Black people, but they want to take it a step higher. They want to go more and more towards authoritarianism. This country, they create hype where there is none. Now, we know stuff is happening, but they got the nerve to go around and police the whole world. But they themselves are so terrible towards their Black citizens. Now, I'm going to say what they say, Black and brown. Okay, for me, we are the brown, right? But that's another confusing thing. They do Black and brown citizens. Come on now, I'm brown. Most of us are brown. That's again them labeling everybody while trying to keep themselves squeaky clean. Policing the whole world, but they got a whole lot of blood stains all over their garments. That's why Yahusha, the one who the world calls Jesus, he said that his
Authoritarian.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family.
Civil rights abuses. However, critics argue that Cop City contradicts this stance, as it expands police militarization, disproportionately affecting Black communities, suppresses protests with activists facing arrests and excessive force, ignores racial justice concerns despite ongoing calls for police reform. International reactions. Human rights groups have condemned Cop City as a step toward authoritarian policing. Foreign leaders have pointed out the contradiction in the US criticizing other nations while expanding its own police force. Activists worldwide have drawn parallels between Cop City and oppressive regimes, arguing that it reflects state-sponsored violence. The impact on Black and brown communities. Critics argue that Cop City will increase police service.
Now you see why they talking to all these white boys, young white boys all over the place. They setting it up.
Surveillance in marginalized neighborhoods, train officers in riot control tactics, making protests more dangerous, divert resources away from social programs, reinforcing systemic inequality. Ongoing resistance. Despite its opening, activists continue to fight against Cop City, calling for alternative investments in public safety. The Stop Cop City movement remains active with protests and legal challenges aimed at shutting down the facility. The construction and opening of Cop City in Atlanta have intensified concerns about racial injustice and police militarization, with critics arguing that it is fueling existing systemic racism rather than addressing public safety concerns. Many activists.
So you see what Pastor Manning was talking about. They working on. Any comments? The question. Okay. We're gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything they came across while in their investigation, or anything they heard on this channel they want to talk about? Okay, everybody good?
Yes.
Okay. Play this right here, then we'll start reading.
I'm a terrible note taker. In such a short time frame. And that thing is, he has genuinely and sincerely united many of the countries in the world against a common enemy. That common enemy in this case, the US. So this is wild. But we just learned China and the European Parliament decided to lift restrictions on exchanges. China and the European Parliament have decided to simultaneously and comprehensively lift restrictions on mutual exchanges as agreed by the two sides. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson said here Tuesday. This guy says, it's done. China and the European Parliament have agreed to simultaneously and comprehensively lift restrictions on mutual exchanges. Trump is bringing Eurasia together. So what does this mean? The United States, as you all know, since World War II, right, we became the leading superpower. We set the rules. We were the most powerful country. We had the most sway. We used both hard power in many instances, but also soft power through things like US aid, diplomacy, negotiations. We sort of created the post-World War II order, right? And that has now been completely and utterly destroyed in a way that I believe it's fair to already say is irreparable. Because Trump has decided, let me basically launch a trade war on the entire world. Let me threaten both enemies and allies with actual hot wars. Let me, say I'm going to steal Greenland, I'm going to steal Panama, we're going to go to war with Iran, or we're going to go to war with Mexico. The whole thing, right? And what happened is the other countries looked around and they said, yeah, the US is unfit to lead. They're too chaotic. They're too unstable. They're not good to their word. They're not good to their own treaties. Trump negotiated the USMCA with Canada, which is NAFTA 2.0. And then Trump now comes in there and says, I'm ripping up that agreement. This is a horrible agreement. Who made this agreement? Trump pulled out of the Iran agreement. Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. Trump is pulling out of the World Health Organization. So the United States is, under Trump, is voluntarily retreating from this position. And so the world looks around and they go, okay, clearly they're not the leader anymore. Now, there are consequences to that, by the way. Like in the long run, the dollar is donezo as the world reserve currency. It's done. Right now, you're seeing the dollar lose value rapidly, and you're seeing gold become more valuable because in the eyes of the world, they want something that can maintain its value better in this uncertain time. Usually in a moment like that, now the flight to safety is to gold. The flight to safety used to be dollars because people didn't question the U.S. as the world's leader, right? Now they are. So there are huge downsides and consequences to that. But let's make our relationship with them more neutral. He's saying, let's take partners who we have a good relationship with, and let's just flat out make them enemies. There are wide-ranging consequences to that he hasn't considered or knows but doesn't care about the consequences, and people are going to feel extreme pain. China will be fine. They are the manufacturing hub of the world. We, on the other hand, will not be fine. We are going to experience more pain than we've ever seen, certainly in my lifetime. So in this very clear way, when it comes to global trade, we are cooked. We are cooked. The world is moving on without us. And even if Trump were to do a full reversal, he wakes up tomorrow, I was wrong about all of it. Let's get back to the negotiating table. And I'll make a great deal. I won't do these punitive tariffs. We're going to make sure trade keeps going. Even in a scenario like that, the rest of the world would still be looking at each other like, I don't trust these motherfuckers. Do you? He can wake up tomorrow and change his mind again and go right back to the trade war. Evil in real life. That's what the Nazi regime was. Well, now things have gotten so bad, so quickly. A majority of the American people are going, of course it's possible that we have some Nazi-like crimes committed here. You want to know why that many people said it? Oh, I don't know. You tell me. Could it be because our president is threatening to steal Greenland and steal Panama and do war with Mexico and war with Iran? And he said we're going to take over Gaza and build fucking casinos and hotels on the beach. And he put gold Trump statues in an AI video about how we're going to steal Gaza. Could it be because we're arming and funding a literal genocide streamed in 4K? Could it be because we are kidnapping and human trafficking innocent people to a concentration camp? Could that be why? That you have to live under a fucking rock and never read the news ever to, at this point, pretend like, bro, that can't happen here. It's literally happening. They're already saying there is no due process. There is no constitution. Might makes right. We do what we want. They're already doing that. They were laughing about blowing off a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling saying you got to return this innocent man from the slave labor camp. It's already fucking happening. So now the spell is broken. The default perspective is no more. Now even other Americans are realizing, of course that shit could happen here. It's basically happening now. And they're right. And they're right. So not only is the world abandoning us, we are abandoning ourselves. Because we're all looking around going, yep, it's happening. It's happening. What the fuck are we going to do about this, y'all? What are we going to do? And most people...
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. Yeah. So that video is "The World is Done with America." And you pretty much can see that nobody wants to to deal with this place because it was already in a bad place. And then when Trump came on the scene, he just put the nail in the coffin. Okay. Nobody have no comments on that. What we're gonna do is start reading our 5 chapters that we read every Wednesday for reading through the Tanak. We in Genesis. We made it to Genesis 41. We're gonna read Genesis 41 through 45 tonight. Okay. I got some readers on here. I'll pick them one at a time. Nidra, you want to read chapter 41?
Shalom. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Genesis 41. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream, he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou can understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, for they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears, blasted with the east wind, shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. For that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such a one as this? Is a man whom the Spirit of God is? A man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, For as much as God has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the 2nd chariot which he had, and they cried before him, Bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years, which were in the hand of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God, said he, hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. The name of the second called he Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began to come, according as Joseph had said, and the dearth was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he said to you, do. And the famine was all over the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. For all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the lands. And that was Genesis chapter 41.
Okay, anybody have any comments on that? Anything you want to stick out?
Shalom. So Joseph left his when his brothers had took his coat away and everything. Yeah, how old was he? Because now he became, he was 80 years old. So it was a long time between him leaving his father's and his brothers in being at this time now, right?
Joseph 30. He's 30 years old.
Oh, it was 30? I thought it was 8. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's 30. Moses was 80 years old when he came back. But he was 18 when he left. So he stayed in prison 12 years. So 12 and 18 is 30. But the thing about this is, notice the 30 years. You know, ring a bell. The ring a
They
bell thing.
tried, well,
What's that?
that's how they did with in JC. He left at 12 and came back at 30 for the 18 years he been missing. Would that be the
But
related?
they got it from right here. Like I said, he's a character. They created him from our scriptures. So right here we see Joseph is 30 years old. So they made JC 30 years old. In previous scriptures we read where they took 30 pieces of silver, all that stuff coming from, they got it from the scriptures, and then when they concocted JC, and they used it in the story when they created him. And then another thing is, it stuck out right here when Joseph had finished the interpreting the dream. We also know when Abraham interpreted the dream for Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh was amazed at Daniel, and the Pharaoh was amazed, right? So if we go to the story of Moses later on, we read it before, but Moses came before the Pharaoh and he said, "We don't know your God." But right here, this before Moses came, and Joseph told them that it's God. They just said in Hebrew. The baker said that the young Hebrew boy interpreted the dream in Hebrew. So it was God of the Hebrews. Joseph just said it. My God, God of my fathers, which is Hebrews, is going to interpret the dream. So when you go over there, they say they don't know the God of the Hebrews. So this example will show you how they didn't tricked off this book. You know, so you gotta go back and get the revelations on your own, because if you're going by what they saying, they all over the place. So anyway, like I said, when he came, he said you don't know the God of the Hebrew, but he flipped out when Joseph interpreted the dream and made him second in charge. But I want to read this part right here. Like I said, I'm always using this to show you that who the God is that done this. First of all, we see that he told him 7 fat calves came out the water, then the 7 skinny calves came out, ate up the 7 fat healthy cows, and it didn't affect them. They still was starved to death. So Joseph recommended that they store up the first 7 years. They stored up to make up for the 7 years of famine that's coming. So who it is that you think blessed them with 7 years to get all the grain and everything they had? Lord of hosts blessed them. Probably 200-fold, because Joseph had so much grain and food stored up till, yeah. But anyway, so to show you how this worked, it says in Genesis 41:40, thou shalt be, this when the Pharaoh made Joseph second in charge, thou shalt be over my house, which is the land of Egypt, and according to thy word shall all my people be ruled. So according to Joseph's word, Pharaoh there, but he said according to everything that Joseph say, Joseph's voice is how Egypt gonna be ruled. So go to Exodus 23:20. Yahweh told Moses on Mount Sinai, listen to this angel. Listen to everything he tell you. He the one ruling. He your God. Michael. Same thing right here. So 21:41. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee. See that? Over all the land of Egypt. So Most High set Michael. over the whole earth, over all this creation, right? Sent him to Egypt. And that's how he inherited the Israelites. That's how he became the God of the Israelites. So he says, Pharaoh said on the 42, and the Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck, right? Then 43, and he made him to ride, look at this, the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bowed the knee, and made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. We're doing the same thing with the Lord of hosts. And when Moses came to the burning bush, he told him, take your shoes off. This ground is holy. You ain't Yahweh, the Lord of hosts. And everybody discombobulated because they think because he bowing down, it's got to be Yahweh. No, the Lord of hosts. Take his shoes off. Same thing with Joshua. When Joshua saw him with the sword, he saw the man in the sword. Genesis, Joshua chapter 5, verse 10. And he says, take your shoes off. The ground that you're standing on is holy because he there, Lord of hosts, Michael. Right? So anyway, 43, 44, let me read 43 again. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, bowed the knee, same way Abraham did when he saw the Lord of hosts in Genesis 18, and he made him a ruler over all the land of Egypt. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, right here, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in the land of Egypt. So let me go give you a comparison right quick. I'm in Isaiah. Okay. Isaiah. Okay. Isaiah 43. Okay. 43. It's the Lord of hosts talking. They Yahweh. It's the Redeemer of Israel. Way back in Isaiah 43, he says, verse 10, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed. So this is not Yahweh, because Yahweh wasn't formed, right? Neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and besides me there's no Savior. See that? Here goes the Savior right here. I have declared, I have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Before they contacted JC, he was doing all the saving among you. Therefore, ye are my witnesses, the Israelites, our forefathers, says the Lord, that I am God. Yea, before the day was, I am he. There is none that can deliver out of my hand. You go to verse right here, comparison and contrast. Yea, before the day was, I am he. There is none that can deliver out of my hand. Way before JC came, he telling you this. Before the day was, I am he. There is none that can deliver out of my hands. I will work, and who shall let it? So we go back to where we at, and he says in verse 44, the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand, see that, or foot in the land of Egypt. Okay? So 45, and the Pharaoh called Joseph's name. Well, we read all that. So anybody else got any comments on that? Anything I said? You got any comments? Okay, Michelle, you want to read 42?
Shalom, everyone. Genesis chapter 42. Jacob sent sons to Egypt. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob, sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. 7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said unto him, Nay, my Lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We are all one man's son. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. 14. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh, ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether that there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. And he put them all together into ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, This do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true to me, and let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prisons, go ye carry corn for the famine of your houses. But bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said to one another, We are verily guilty concerning our brother. In that day we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. And he turned himself about from them, and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them. And he took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money unto his sack, and to give them provisions for the way. And thus did he unto them. And they ladded their asses with corn, and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this that God had done unto us? 29. And they came unto Jacob their father into the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man who is the Lord of the land spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, We are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father, one is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone, and bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. so will I deliver you, your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. 36. And Jacob their father said unto them, May ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, Slay my two sons if I bring him not to thee. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to thee again. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in the which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. That was Genesis chapter 42.
Okay, got any comments on that?
No, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So if you go to 26, verse 26, back to what I said when Zerubbabel left. When Zerubbabel left uh, Babylon, and I told you in Zechariah 9:9, they say that that's Jesus. But Zechariah was in captivity in Babylon too. So when they left, it says in verse 9, your God, your king is coming. Zerubbabel is the king. So he said, your king is coming back to Jerusalem, riding lowly upon an ass. So we see, you go your example right here, 26. So they Joseph and his brothers came to Egypt. So how did they get there? Right here, 26. They laid in their asses, see that? With the corn and departed thence. And as one of them opened up his sack and gave his ass provender, see that? Ass provenders in the end, he expired his money, and behold, it was in the sack. So like I'm just showing you that how they hoodwinked. So when they went to Egypt, they was on asses. They ain't had no cars and all that back then. So when Zerubbabel came back, or after Babylonian captivity, after the 70 years, Zechariah with him. That's why that's in Zechariah 9:9. He says, your king is coming under you, lowly riding upon an ass. That's Zerubbabel. But they took that and put it on JC, made it a prophecy of JC, and then even went to Palm Sunday and all that. Negroes putting palm trees out on their front porch and all that, talking about Palm Sunday. But this is where it came from. Okay. And then the other one is Lord. By showing you how, people get all bent out of shape about Lord, not understanding how to rightly divide it. So 28, I'm gonna read 29 and 30 though. It says, and they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befall them unto them, saying, the man, check it out, the man who is the Lord of the land. See that? That's Joseph. The man who is the Lord of the land spake roughly unto us and took us for spies of the country. So, like I said, go to Genesis chapter 18. The Lord came to Abraham. Wasn't Yahweh. And they're here. Joseph is Lord. You know, right to divide. All that means is master. But these Edomites have tricked it off and got you thinking that when you see Lord is Yahweh. You got to be able to rightly divide that. Okay? Mika, you want to read this chapter 43?
Shalom. The famine worsens, and the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt. Their father said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto them, saying, The man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, Wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? And they said, The man asked us straightly of our state and our kindred, saying, Is your father yet alive? Have ye another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of the of these words, could we certainly know that he would say, Bring your brother down. Judah as surety for Benjamin. And Judah said unto Israel, His father send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little ones. I will be surety for him. Of my hand shall thou require him, if I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned this second time. And their father Israel said unto them, If it must be now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land, your vessels, and carry down the man and present a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. Take the double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your stacks. Carry it again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Benjamin sent to Egypt. Take also your brother and arise, go again unto the man, and God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. And the men took the present, and they took the double money in their hand. And Benjamin rose up, and they went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the rulers of his house, Bring these men home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me in the noon at noon. And the man did as Joseph bade. And the man brought the men unto Joseph's house, preparing to meet Joseph. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, Because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us, and the fall upon us, and take us for bondmen and our asses. And they came near to the stew and Joseph and of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, "O sir, we came indeed down in the first time to buy food, and it came to pass when we came to the end, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack. Our money is full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand, and the other money have we brought down in our hand to buy food? We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, peace be to you. Fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, washed their feet, and he gave their asses provender, and they made ready the present against Joseph. Came to noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. Joseph meets Benjamin. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand unto the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of the welfare and said, is your father well? The old man of whom he spake, is he yet alive? And they answered, thy servant our father is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made opposites. And he lifted up their what was that?
Obstinance.
Obstinate. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother of whom you spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. The feast. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and he and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men marveled one at another. And he took and sent messages unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. That's the end of chapter 43, Genesis.
Okay, you got any comments on that?
No, sir.
Anybody else got any comments on it? Yeah, I don't know if anybody else caught that, but the Lord's Supper, right? Everybody know about the Lord's Supper? The New Testament?
Shalom. Brother Leonard, did you say the Last Supper?
Lord Supper. Yeah, the Lord's Supper, that one JC had in the New Testament. The
Okay,
Last
yes,
Supper.
sir. Right, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So 43, verse 33. Look at this. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one another, the Hebrews, right? 34. And he took and sent sent messages unto them from before him, but the Benjamin mess was 5 times as much as any of the other theirs, and they drank and were merry. So they in the table, Lord's Supper, like table. See that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You get some? So yeah, that was 33. Let me see, 24. Says, yeah. So what happened with like I said, I didn't really pay no attention until coming up. The reason why they didn't watch or got married watching JC feet. But we know in Genesis 18 when the three angels came to Abraham washed their feet. And then he went in and cooked them food and brought it out to them, and then they ate the food and then they went on their way. So 24 says the man brought them the men into Joseph's house and gave them water and they washed their feet. See that? And he gave their the acid preventers. So like I was saying before, you can see how they set all that up. They get all this this our way of life. So when they concocted JC, they had to put these things, they went back here and they put these things into to give it the Hebrew take on it. See that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're gonna read 44, AJ?
Yes, sir. And Brother Leonard, I had one question about verse 7 in chapter 43. Just when
Yes.
when it's always like when somebody's looking for the sons, looking for one of the brothers, like with David, is what I'm trying to say. Like when it says in verse 7, is your father yet alive? Have you another brother? When Samuel came, to anoint a king, David's
Right,
brothers, they didn't bring him out. That reminds me of the same thing.
right. And then another part to add to that is Samuel already been told how many sons that he had. That's why Samuel asked the question. And so the same right here, Joseph already know they got another brother, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
So Joseph got four knowledge. Yeah, that's what baffling them. The things that Joseph asking and what he doing, and then I understand how he know it and how he doing, like the way he sit them at the table by their age. They tripping out. Okay.
Shalom.
Anything else? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Why didn't they say about Joseph? Because that was their brother too, and they didn't mention him as being um, not, that he passed or anything, because he was their brother too.
Yeah, he
So
told
I
him that
thought that maybe he
because
wanted them
one
to
is not.
say we had a brother. Sir?
Yeah, he told him that. He said we have one brother back at the house and we have one that's not. I mean, he's dead. They think he dead.
Oh,
They
okay.
they away with that, right? So yeah, okay. You gonna read 44, AJ?
Yes, sir. Shalom. Uh, Joseph's final test. And he commanded the steward of the house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their asses. And when they were gone out of the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, up, follow after the men, and when thou doest overtake them, say unto them, wherefore have ye rewarded evil for good? Is not this it in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divineth? Yea, have done evil in so doing. And he
Something going
overtook
on with
them.
your mic. Something going on with your mic. Okay.
Hello, shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. In verse 6, and he overtook them, and he spake unto them these same words, and they said unto him, wherefore saith my Lord, these words, God forbid that thy servant should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sacks' mouths, we brought again unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal out of the Lord's house silver or gold? With whomsoever of thy servants it be found, both let him die, and we also be my Lord's bondmen. And he said, now also let it be according unto your words. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and yea shall be blameless. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack. And he searched and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their clothes and laid it, every man his ass, and returned to the city. And Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said unto him, what deed is this that ye have done? Walk ye not such a man as I can certainly divine? And Judah said, what shall we say unto my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God hath found out the iniquity of thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and he also with whom the cup is found. And he said, God forbid that I should do so, but the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, get you up in peace unto your father. Then Judah came near unto him and said, O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ears, and let not thine anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, saying, have ye a father or a brother? And we said unto my Lord, we have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother, and his father loveth him. And thou saidest unto thy servants, bring him down unto me, that I may set mine eyes upon him. And we said unto my Lord, the lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. And thou saidest unto thy and thou saidest unto thy servants, except your youngest brother come down with you, ye shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came up unto thy servant, my father, we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, go again and buy us a little food. And we said, we cannot go down. If our youngest brother be with us, then we will go down, for we may not see the man's face, except our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant, my father, said unto us, yea, know that my wife bare me 2 sons, and the one went out from me. And I said, surely he is torn in pieces, and I saw him not since. And if ye take this also from me, and mischief befall him, ye shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to thy servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, it shall come to pass, when he seeth that the lad is not with us, that he will die. And thy servant shall bring down the gray hairs of thy servant of our father with sorrow to the grave. For thy servant become surety for the lad unto my father, saying, if I bring him not unto thee, then I shall bear the blame to my father forever. Now therefore I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad, a bondman to my Lord. And let the lad go up with his brethren. For how should I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me, lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come on my father? Shalom. That was chapter 44.
Okay, you got any comments?
No, wait. So, brother, I'm thinking So did Joseph set this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Yes,
took it.
sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
He know that you understand the severity of the situation because he know how much uh Jacob loved they mother Rachel. That's why he targeting Benjamin because he know how much that's the last thing he got from Rachel. Joseph is supposed to be dead, and then the only thing he got left from Rachel is Benjamin. Remember, she died in childbirth.
Right. Yes, sir.
So Joseph playing on that. He getting their mind right because of what they done to him. But I want to shine a light on 18 right quick. It says 18. Then Joseph came near unto him and said, O my Lord, let not thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ear, and let not thine anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh. See that? So, like I was saying, when they was dealing with Michael back in the day, before the flood and all that, they thought that was Yahweh. So look what he said right here, Joseph. With Judah tell Joseph, then Judah came near unto him and said, O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ear, and let not my anger burn against thy servant, for thou art as the Pharaoh. See that? The Pharaoh ain't there, but Joseph's standing there with the power of the Pharaoh. And that's the same way with the Lord of hosts. See that?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So, right. Yeah. So we got all these examples, but you know what I'm saying? If they're going to deal with it or not. So I'm going to read chapter 45. It says, Joseph make himself known. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, caused every man to go out, caused every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren, and he wept aloud. And the Egyptians in the house of the Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Do my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, and pray, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now, therefore, be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God hath sent me before you to preserve life. These 2 years have the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you as a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God, and he have made me a father of Pharaoh, a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Has ye hasten ye and go up to my father and say unto him, thus said thy son Joseph, God hath made me Lord in all of Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not, and thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. So this right here big. I'm gonna break it down right here before I keep reading. So if you go back and remember when Joseph was a young kid, they ain't like him because Jacob had put that coat of many colors on him and all that. And Joseph dreamed dreams, right? And Joseph interpreted the dreams. That's how he got the position he got. He interpreted the dream. The Lord of hosts knew that. That's why he sent the dream to the Pharaoh, knowing that Joseph was going to be the one to interpret it. But if you go back, Joseph told him when he was young, that he had dreamed a dream, a particular dream, that the 12 stars bowed down to him. So he said, 13 stars bowed down to him. It's 11 stars, which is the sons, his brothers, and the mother and the father. They bowed down to him, and then they were mad because of that. But Jacob got pissed off when Joseph told him that. He felt a certain type of way. He's saying this right here. Now I'm gonna read it again. 9. Has ye hasten ye? He told Judah this. Hasten ye and go to my father and say unto him, thus says thy son Joseph, God has made me Lord. See that? He going back to the dream, getting his mind right. God hath made me Lord of all of Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. So he's going right back to the dream, get Jacob mind right. Anyway, 10, and thou hast dwelt in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. That was for Joseph. That was for Jacob, right? And there will I nourish thee. He talked to his daddy. There will I nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall hasten and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. And the fame throughout the fame thereof was heard in the Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come, and it pleased the Pharaoh well and his servants. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto thy brethren, this do ye, lad your beast, and go, get ye up unto the land of Canaan, and take your father and your household, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and ye shall eat the fat of the land. Remember the prophecy, right? That Isaac told him you're gonna live in the fat of the land, right? There it is. 19. Now thou art commanded of this do ye, take ye wagons out of the land of Egypt for little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of the Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of raiment, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after the manner 10 asses laden with the good things of Egypt, and 10 she asses laden with the corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they reported, and he said unto them, see that ye fall not out of thy way. And they went up out of Egypt and came into the land of Canaan unto Jacob their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is a governor for all the land of Egypt. And Joseph heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph. This what it made him know Joseph. It was Joseph, right? He said, and they told him all the words of Joseph. which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. And Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive, and I will go and see him before I die. Okay, so we see right there, that was a doozy, right? Anybody got any comments or questions on that?
So,
Okay,
Shalom. So his father knows that he's alive, so that made him happy.
right. Yeah, he thought he was dead.
And all the brothers he told the brothers don't grieve because they thought he was dead, but he's alive. And their hearts were sorrow because they knew what they did to him, but he said they're forgiven.
Exactly.
Okay.
Somebody gonna pick a scripture for and we'll read it, and then we'll break up, shut out. Anybody got a scripture?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Can we go to Deuteronomy 24:16?
Okay, what does it say?
It says, the father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man should be put to death for his own sin.
Okay, they killed JC, don't
Sound like it to me, sir.
they? Yeah, exactly. So they read over that, or they'll come up with some other bullshit understanding of it. But yeah, he tells you right there, you can't nobody die for your sins. You die for your own sins. Ain't nobody coming to die for your sins. That verse right there kills it. Like that song?
Shalom. And when we're speaking on sin, is that the curse that we have placed upon us? And when we don't do, thus says the Lord of the Ten Commandments, we're putting it on ourselves when we don't obey the Ten Commandments, his statutes and commandments.
Yeah, say that again. You kept getting breaking up.
I said the sin is the curse that we have upon us when we don't obey the commandments and his statutes. When we fall short, that is what he's considered the sin, correct or not?
Well, the Ten Commandments, the laws, the statutes, when we don't keep them, that's sin. Like the Sabbath. If you don't keep the Sabbath, that's sin. Or you lie to your brother, and that's a sin. To go against the commandments is a sin. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna say I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow for our Women's Advanced Bible Study. The men, let me see. Yeah, the man can come through the YouTube channel. Women have, get the link. So with that being said, I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanak, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.